Hey! Who's that? Laura. Hey.
We're lucky you have one name.
Oh, who's got you? Who's got you?
Oh. Well, they do look alike, though. We've got two more.
She's around Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly.
I love that. What's new? Brad.
Some you always like it. Must be
Didn't y'all have one with a side pack for a while? You got that. That is like
I wish I had a patch to put on my
and have some nice
I'm gonna go get something. Okay? I want to get some food.
But I would imagine from March through
It doesn't like to say out
Megan, you into them cameras, ain't you?
Well,
and I wrote down on the back of it what 12 was. And I said, yeah, but I wondered all of my loans going to be this way. And so then I grabbed the phone book. There was a phone book. And I looked up, Social Security. So I called, and I was very lucky. Helen Wilson is there, and I told her my flight, you know. And she said, oh, she says, next, just check it out, and I'll be right back to you. I hope the rest of my life is easy, you know. And she was so kind and so gracious that she didn't know me to have a house cat that day. And I feel like taught me so much about public relations and dealing with people. And she is truly a scarce commodity in today's world, because I don't find that that the people are as receptive to human goodness, human kindness. It appears sometimes that we're all in the fast lane to nowhere. And I have to stop very often and think that, you know, it just, Helen and I saw reminisce several times about how hectic life was and how difficult things seemed at times. But she always lifted me up and she helped me get over the hump, and we helped each other sometimes to get through the day. And she has always been a very giving woman, a very kind woman, a very patriotic woman. She was very sincere and dedicated to her job. And I don't know of anybody who would give me any more privilege to have an opportunity to be a part of her time at Notes. The only thing I can say is I'm very envious. Very envious. And I know that's a cardinal sin. You're not supposed to envy, but I do. And it is even a greater honor for me to have been asked to present to you at this time a plaque in recognition of outstanding public service for helping people realize their full life and responsibility for social security. This plaque is presented to Helen Wilson, Operations Supervisor, Orangeburg, South Carolina, by the Social Security Administration of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, signed Dorothy Sherman. That's the first part of my act, okay? I have a boss who also been told that Helen will be retiring from Social Security. He has known her when she's been in Washington. He's always known her when she's been in Orangeburg. And Helen's reached out in a lot of different directions. He asked that I read this little letter that he sent down to her and present her with this and a token of his appreciation for a job very well done. Dear Helen, on this momentous occasion, I would like to take this opportunity to express my heartiest congratulations. More importantly, I would like you to know how much I appreciate your many years of devoted, dedicated public service. I am sure that your departure is really with mixed emotions, but there is no doubt that you have earned the right to take things into your life. During these years, you've made some outstanding contributions, all of which you may recall with a sense of pride and accomplishment. My very best wishes go with you and yours and all future endeavors. The kindest regards, Floyd Smith.
We have several presents for you.
Oh, farewell. Thanks to Ms. Wilson. We're going to have a little fun and just kind of enjoy ourselves. So everybody kind of relax and get into it. And let's just have a good time right now. Okay, we're ready, Debbie.
Will they go off the line? They won't go off. Too bad.
Too bad. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Test. Okay. One more, Charles. There we go. Now, we're ready. Okay.
Don't attempt to adjust your dial. You are now in the twilight zone. The twilight zone brings us to a small city, Orangeburg, South Carolina, July the 30th, 1987. We introduce you to Helen Wilson, mild-mannered, beautiful supervisor. And her boss, dashing and debonair Charlie Mathis. We bring you to them where they are being interviewed by a local reporter from Orangeburg.
Charlie, we understand that Helen is retiring. What is your reaction to that? One second. Are we ready now, Maestro? Okay. Okay. Question again, sir. We understand that Helen is retiring. What is your reaction to that?
I know y'all glad you got Mark.
Okay. Now, Helen, since Charlie is pleading for you to come back, what is your reaction to that? Okay. Well, Charles, seems like she's not going to come back. But why is it so important that she stays? Thank you.
This has been a bad week. Okay, now we have a poem.
We have a little poem as usual for you. Miss Wilson.
Helen?
Somebody
Okay.
swap Maureen.
Maureen!
Come on, Maureen! Joe, I think we need you.
There's a detective in the house.
Maureen, we have a detective in the house.
I'll get it back.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here we go. A little poem in honor of Miss Wilson. There once was a little old lady who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She loved her family in every way. But I need something more, she would say. She made up her mind a job was the key. At 61, she joined Social Security. This Mississippi gal was headed for the top. She had thrown down her broom and given up her mom.
She didn't mind getting her feet wet. As we all know, she she'd dive right in and just let go. No problem unsolved, no task undone. She'd work her knuckles to the bone, trying to please everyone. Now there's more to Helen than meets the eye. If it was on sale, she had to buy. Maureen would sell the clothes off her back. Helen would buy them, that's a fact. And now it's time to say goodbye, to give hugs and kisses, and even cry. If you ever need us, we won't be far. If we're not in the office, we'll be at the bar. I would like to give you a little tune, Miss Wilson, just to let you know that we love you and we'll miss you. Thanks for the times that you've given me. The memories are all in my mind. Now that we've come to the end of our rainbow, there's something I must say out loud.
thank you, Orangeburg, Social Security, part-timers, part-timers. Now, the program will not be complete without a mystery guest. Someone who needs no introduction because we don't know who he is. It's the definition of a mystery guest. But Helen, you deserve this. You've earned it. You've paid the dues for the mystery guest. With no further ado, I introduce our mystery guest.
Oh, that's me?
That's you.
Helen Wilson, this is your life. But that's as far as I can go with it, okay? Thank you so much. It's good to be with you tonight. I enjoyed the meal I didn't eat. Well, did y'all get enough? See, I didn't eat any so you could get enough. I didn't need any. Not really. I try not to eat. I ate a late lunch today. Helen, we're going to talk in a few minutes, okay? That'll be all right. And I want you to say something now before the evening's over with. You said you're going to tell them where to get off. Isn't that what you said? Oh, that's not what you said. Oh, that's what you said to me outside, though, when you first got here. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I wasn't supposed to let the cat out of the bag there. That's all right there. I'll just sing it to you right now, all right? On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see just who you are. On a clear day, how it will astound you that the glow of your being outshines. The pack of gum there, it said, use or chew to prevent pressure from building up in your ears upon takeoff and landing. So I've experienced that pressure in my ears, and my ears have hurt very bad a couple of times on flights when they make a rapid descent. So I said, well, I'll, give this a try. So I plopped a stick of gum in my mouth. Boy, I chewed that sucker all the way to Milwaukee. Felt good. My ears didn't hurt and nothing. Everything was going along great. We landed in Milwaukee about 2 o'clock in the morning and getting off the plane. And I noticed this guy in front of me. We were walking down the aisle getting ready to go out of the door into a little passageway, And the guy was, doing this number with his ear. And I said, well, that guy didn't chew his gum or something. Maybe it didn't work for him. And he got to the hostess there at the door of the plane. He says, man, you're going to have to take this stuff. It don't do a bit of good. So don't fly Eastern. Don't chew that gum. It doesn't do any good for some people. I got to Milwaukee. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Finally got to the Mark Plaza Hotel and got checked in. It must have been about 2:45 before I got to bed. And I was dog tired to begin with because I'd worked all day and then flew up there that evening. And I had just gotten in the bed and a knock came at the door. Let me find a door here. Now I knew nobody else knew me in Milwaukee except the people who had booked me for this thing up there. And I knew they weren't awake at 2 o'clock in the morning because it was a women's convention. They were all gathered in somebody else's room somewhere. And the knock came at the door and I went to the door and here was a guy standing at the door like this. Is this my room? That was my watch. I said, no sir, it's not your room. He said, okay. So he diddly-bopped off on down the hallway and kept on going. So I shut the door and went back and got in the bed. 5 minutes later, another knock at the door. And I wondered, who in the world? And I go back and he's the same guy. He says, is this my room? I said, sir, this is not your room. He says, okay. He goes on down the hall again. I said, what are you watching my feet for? I think there's something wrong with them. Do you live around here often? What's your name? I've never heard a name like that. It's a new name. It's Elda, isn't it? Hi, Elda. Hi, Reed. You got a name tag on it. She's wondering, how in the world do you know that?
Not really.
Do me a favor before I do anything.
Sure, anything.
Who is this lady?
She belongs to me.
You mean you'll admit that?
Before you go any further, he's an ex-Marine.
I don't care. Oh, that was the microphone. So excuse me. Is it? Okay. Sometimes I don't get it glued on just right. It slides to one side. I get up in the mornings, I have to ask myself the question, to moose or not to moose? But anyway, this guy, I figured, man, I'm rid of him now. I dove back in the bed, and I said, I waited for 5 minutes before I dozed off, because I knew he may come back. He didn't come back in 5 minutes. It was 15. Not. Hi, Helen, how are you? Are you still with us, dear? Okay. Knock at the door. I go to the door. Don't watch my feet. He says, is this my room? I said, sir, I have told you this is not your room. He says, well, you must have every doggone room in the hotel. I got on the elevator that night too to go up to the hotel room, and they had a little sign on the elevator, 8th floor button broken. And I said, well, how am I going to get up to the 8th floor? And then over to the side I noticed in small print, push 5 and 3 together. I stay in some weird hotels, folks. I really did. But I tell you what, Helen, I've got a song for you. I know that we're probably pretty close together age-wise, aren't we? That's a compliment to you, dear. That's a compliment to you. I don't care, I'm 44. That's only 22 years difference. Don't I look good for 44, huh? Okay. Go ahead, I'll take all that I can get, because I don't get it very often. But here's a song that I think will be just your style, sweetheart. I think this is your song. This is your music right here tonight, dear. You know I can't be found sitting home alone. You can't come around, at least please telephone. Don't be cruel to the heart that's true. Baby, if I made you mad, something I might have said, please let's forget the past, cause the future looks bright ahead. Don't be cruel. Is my breath smell? You're throwing right now. That's true. I don't want no other love. Baby, it's just you I'm thinking of. Let's walk up to the preacher and I do. Say I do. Then you know you have me, and I know that I'll have you. Don't be cruel. Y'all watch this leg in a minute. Let's go do an Elvis Presley trick here, alright? Heart is true. Why should we be apart? I really love you, baby. Close to my heart. Watch it, Mary. Watch here. Walk up to the preacher and let us say I do. Then you know you'll have me, and I know that I'll have you. Don't be cruel to a heart. Should I tell them what you just said? Should we be apart? I really love you, baby. Close to my heart. You heard that? Good. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. I don't want no other love. Baby, it's just you I'm thinking of. I think I stepped on my watch a while ago. I can't move up here. You see how this stuff bounces when I do? I'm not that heavy. Am I? Every time I go to a restaurant to eat or go to a banquet like this, I'm reminded of an incident that happened to me. Being in law enforcement is kind of strange because I'm a deputy sheriff with the Lexington County Sheriff's Department, and I see some strange things happen every once in a while. And a friend of mine, a guy that works with me, we like to go to the Sheraton Northwest in Columbia on Bush River Road and have lunch because they have a delicious buffet there. And we were out there one day, And this couple was seated at the table next to us and just eating away and laughing and carrying on, you know. You really didn't listen to hear what they were saying, but they looked like they were just enjoying each other's company and everything. And out of the corner of my eye, I noticed that the guy in the chair just kind of, as if he fainted or melted or something, he just slithered right down under the table. Slid right out of the chair. And I looked at Gary, I said, Gary. And we looked at the man's wife, and I said, she don't even know he's under the table. And so I went over to her, and I tapped on her and said, ma'am, your husband's under the table. She said, that's not my husband, that's him coming through the door. People are strange. Things happen in restaurants. I've always heard that if, ladies, for you ladies that are single here tonight or single again, I've always heard that if a gentleman asks you to meet him at some quaint, nice little quiet, dimly lighted place, then he doesn't want to be seen with you, okay? Keep that in mind. Well, some of them are strange. My wife, when we got married, I used to kid her about being left-handed. Because when we eat at a table, if we sit together on the same side of a banquet table, she'll always tell me, you sit here. Well, I like to sit on the end. And if she's left-handed and I'm right-handed, our hands and elbows are bumping together here if we're sitting on this side of each other. So she told me one night, very adamantly, she says, you're going to sit over here and I'm going to sit on the end because I don't want you pushing food down my throat with your elbow. I said, all right, you have it your way. She says, anyway, she says, did you know that the right side of the brain controls the left hand? And that the left side of the brain controls the right hand? I said, so what? She says, that means that the left-handed people are the only people in their right mind. We've been married about 2 weeks. And you know, the first couple of weeks of marriage is an adjustment period. I mean, it takes some real adjusting sometimes. And being in broadcast, I spent 21 years in radio and television. And sometimes it gets very frustrating, just like it does in your jobs, I'm sure. It gets a little frustrating to go home in the afternoons, and things have been tough at the radio station, you know. And I got home one afternoon, first couple of weeks we were married. We were living in West Palm Beach, Florida. And Mandy just got on my case. I said, honey, lay off now. You know, I'm just not ready for this. Let's don't just, you know, have any of this. No domestic here this afternoon. So she kept right on. Finally, I whacked her one time. And I didn't see her for nearly 2 weeks. And then my right eye started to open up just a little bit. But my wife is really an angel. You know how I know she's an angel? Because she's always up in the air. She never has an earthly thing to wear. And she's always harping. The rest of y'all will get that after you leave here tonight. Mandy's been on a diet though. She's lost 70 pounds since February. Yeah, she said, I used to look like a tank. And she was pretty hefty, but she's lost 70 pounds since February, done real good. She was back at the doctor's office the other day for a checkup. And he was real proud of her, you know, and she's been doing real well on her diet and has been staying on it religiously almost. And kind of got off here in the last couple of months, just eat a little bit, you know, but she hadn't put on any weight. And she came home and told me, she says, the doctor told me if I'll bathe in milk, that it will improve my skin condition and make it look softer and fresher and everything. I said, well, that's fine. She says, I need you to go get me 54 quarts of milk. I said, Mandy, you maybe what people are going to say if I walk in out of the store with 54 quarts of milk. She says, I don't care. Go get it. I said, all right. I said, do you want it pasteurized? She said, no, just up to my chin. A song for you if you like to dance, a nice little waltz. This is real nice stuff. You what?
Charlie.
You what? You wouldn't dance?
Charlie. Charlie.
I mean, listen. You see this? This is the Julio Iglesias stance. And if anybody else feels like you got the urge and you feel like you got to grab your partner and do-si-do a little bit for this song, just go right ahead. But this is a real nice little easy song that you can dance to, all right? It's an old one, but a good one. Look at me. I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree. And I feel like I'm clinging to the clouds. I can't understand. I get misty just holding your hand. All right, I like it. Come on, do it one time. Walk my way, and 1,000-mile winds begin to play. You two are going to dance, huh? Or is it the sound of your hello? This music, you better hurry, the song's going to end in a minute. I get misty the moment you're near. You can say that you're but it's just what I want you to do. Don't you notice how hopelessly I'm lost? That's why I'm following you. I'm following you.
Swinging around.
As I walk through this wonderland. Do that again. Let me see that one more time. Never knowing my right foot from my left.
She's just swung around.
And too much in love. I'm too busy and too much in love. Let's give our lady of honor a nice hand. Very nice hand. She knows what she's doing, don't she? Wanted everybody to think that she couldn't swirl around and twirl and all that stuff. That's all right. She did a fine job, Helen. Retirement, it's going to be nice. I'm sure you've taken on another job already, haven't you? My mother did the same thing. My mother was 70 years old in September. 2 weeks ago, she took a new job 4 days a week, 8 hours a day. She said, I got tired of sitting at home. My mom's an active person. She just likes to do things, you know. But mom's getting a little bit forgetful. I got by her house the other day. I had lunch with her last Monday. She fixed collard greens and cornbread. Y'all eat, anybody here eat collards? I know! Give me your name and address. I'll be right over. Yeah, that's not funny. But collards are good, aren't they? Think if you got a little streak of lean or some fatback or smoked hog joe to eat with them. A little pickled pepper, put a little vinegar on them. But mom is getting a little bit forgetful. Got to the carport and the back door was open because the weather's been real nice, and I walked in the door and she was standing there at the refrigerator with a dish of butter in her hands. And the refrigerator door was open about a foot. And she was just standing. I said, Mother, what are you doing? She said, well, I can't remember whether I came to put this in or I just took it out. So don't you get forgetful like that, all right? But you know, Helen, when you started to work many moons ago, coffee was real cheap, wasn't it? A cup of coffee was 5 cents. Then it went up to a dime. You know, a cup of coffee for a dime is a real bargain, but with inflation today, we're lucky if we get to fondle the beans for a dime, don't we? I mean, any of you ever go to the grocery store and play with the coffee beans? Take them out of the bag. You know where they got those personal grinders, you know, you buy a bag with the beans in it and you dump it in the grinder and grind it any way you want it. I like to just run my hand through the beans and leave them there. My niece caught me doing that one time. And she says, Uncle Jeff, what are you doing? I said, I'm playing with the coffee beans. She said, well, you're not supposed to do that. My niece is very perceptive. She used to stay with us a lot. She's 11 years old now. But when she was a little girl, she had the neatest way she's a very perceptive young lady. And she just figured things out real quickly, you know. I guess she was about 3 or 4 years old, and her little brother Terry was staying with us for the weekend because their mom and dad had gone out of town, and we'd babysit, you know. And so we had both of them. And I was in the kitchen doing something, and Andy was out in the yard, and I heard Amanda scream. Boys, I mean, she was just a blood-curdling yell. And I ran to the bedroom to see what was wrong, and Terry had her by the hair. And he was just pulling away on me. And Amanda was screaming to the dear life, and tears running down her face. So I went over and I took Terry's fingers and just kind of got them loose from her hair. And I said, honey, it's all right. And I picked her up and I said, look, it's going to be okay. And I wiped the tears out of her face. I said, he doesn't realize what he's doing and he doesn't know it hurts. So she kind of settled for that, and I put her back down. I went back in the kitchen, and it was just a few seconds after that, and I heard another scream, and I recognized it to be Terry's voice. And I went back to the bedroom, and I said, what in the world? She says, he knows now. Children will find ways to get through to you, I tell you. Let me see, I've got my duck came in a while ago. Did y'all see her when she came in? Now turn around and say hi to her. Hi. No, this way, around here. Well, do it. I mean, do it in a nice way. Let them know that you really, that you're friendly.
Just like Friday. How are you? Do you talk?
Give them a chance. They'll warm up here in a second.
Hey, boy.
Gertrude. I'm not worried about the hand. It's all right. Maybe the air conditioner will come on.
Somebody turn the heat on.
The air conditioner, all right?
I'm not turn the heat on.
I'm doing the same thing.
Don't do that. That's not funny.
That is, Gertrude, this is our guest of honor. Stop crying. Come on now. This is Mrs. Wilson. Do you realize you're making a fool out of me?
Sure do.
Say hi to Miss Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
You did not. You said hi to everybody.
Oh, she was in the good.
Greet Mrs. Wilson.
What's your first name?
That's what I said.
Hi, you big mama.
Good try. How dare you do that to me?
Oh, yeah. That's not funny.
Well, you just got me.
Unfortunately.
That too.
Did I say something wrong?
You sure did. I think you owe Miss Wilson an apology.
Do I, Miss Wilson? Is she damn big mouth?
Well, that's a little better than Big Boy.
Big boy.
Don't you start that again.
I'll do anything I want to.
No.
Uh-oh.
I will get with your south end like scrambling got with eggs. All right, back on McDonald. We're going to say cow this time. That's simpler to do. Everybody can say cow. We will say cow.
What you trying for?
I can't help it.
You sure can. You smell. You rolled on, must have rolled off.
My roll-on must have rolled off. That's not funny.
Oh, yes, it is.
All right, we're going to do Old MacDonald. Everybody,
I'll do your shit.
I'm going to sing too.
Just like I shit.
We're
What you doing?
about to knock everything off here, all right? We still got it right though, all right? I'm going to play the music and then we're going to do it, all right?
Are you all ready? To your turn.
Nobody? Anybody in October?
The baby. There's the baby.
Gertrude, Bob and is it Elda? Stand up for us here. I want everybody to see you. We can all laugh together here. Let's all sing happy birthday to Bob and Elda, all right? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
say goodnight?
I don't know song.
We don't have time for another song. You don't have another song. I don't have one.
You do it now.
Did you put something on the tape?
I sure did.
What do you do this to me for? What are you going to do?
I'm gonna do a famous impersonation.
Ducks don't do impersonations, Gertrude.
This one does.
All right, Miss Smarty, who are you going to impersonate? Who? Who? Beverly Seals.
Guess what? My hat's off.
Beverly Seals is an opera singer.
Sure is.
Do you realize she's a soprano?
Yep.
Gertrude, she is a high soprano. This is not the Tonight Show. I would say she probably sings about this high.
Oh, that ain't too bad.
But I have heard her at the Lincoln Center, and she sings this high.
Oh my gosh.
You gonna do it?
I can't do it yet.
Gertrude.
I love you.
You are...
I love you too.
Gertrude.
Kiss me.
I have never kissed a duck in my life. You're gonna do the song. Yeah, do it now.
Don't make me do it.
Gertrude, do it.
But yes, I love you.
I know you do.
Tell me you love me.
Gertrude.
You've talked to me before.
Yes, I've talked to you before.
And you said you love me.
Yes, I do that. Usually it's in private.
Now tell me you feel.
No.
Do it now.
Gertrude.
Say it louder. Louder.
I love you.
Louder.
I love you, Gertrude.
You sure do.
Now will you do the song?
Yep. Stop the music, big boy.
Here we go, Beverly Seals. This is how I hear Beverly Seals. Oh my word, Gertrude. That is the worst I have ever heard in my life. That is terrible. You realize if Beverly Seals ever heard this, I'd probably have a lawsuit on my hands. I can't afford that. Absolutely ridiculous. What's the matter now?
I'm shocked.
Say goodbye, Gertrude.
Goodbye, Gertrude. I love you.
People who went to a lot of trouble and drove a long distance to come. And I'll always be grateful for that. When you spend almost half of a lifetime with an organization like mine, happened to be Social Security, it's a red letter day for your so-called day of retirement. I haven't retired. I don't guess I ever will. Instead of working 8 hours a day, I'm leaving at 7 and getting back at 7 and keeping my antique shop open on the weekends, teaching a Sunday school class on Sunday. So I still don't have my dresser drawers cleaned out. That was one of the things that I hoped that I'd be able to do when I did retire. I'd like also to thank my friends for coming, those who have come that are not with the administration. I'd like to thank John Barnwell, one of my dear friends from Department of Social Services, for coming. He's one of the first persons with the Department of Social Services that I met when I came to Orangeburg. I'm sorry that Pat Presley was not able to be here tonight. They are, in my opinion, two of the most outstanding Department of Social Services employees that I have seen anywhere. And I have worked in Mississippi and 11 years in Atlanta and 13 years here. They're dedicated employees. Everybody at our organization would go back for them 100%. We've never asked them one time to do anything that they haven't responded immediately. They've cooperated wholeheartedly. Pat Presley is not with the department now, But my first impression and recollection of her when I came to Orangeburg, and we were on St. John Street, she was there with a client, and somebody had put out in front of our office a lady who weighed at least 350 pounds if she weighed 1 pound. She had a little boy. They put her out with a trunk that was the size of this table in front of the office, left her there at night. She had some flower pots in her hand with dirt spilling out, disoriented. She was diabetic. She'd come from New York, didn't know where her address was. The people that she was visiting here just dumped her. They were dumping her on us. And Pat and I took her out to Bain Health Center to try to get some help for her. And Pat took her and got her a place to stay. On one other occasion, I called her about a situation where children were abandoned and left alone in an area where they had no business being left alone. This had been reported several times. And then an hour after I had called, those children were picked up, and she had called us to let us know that they were picked up. And it's people like them who cut red tape and get things done that we need more of. I'm just sorry that Pat couldn't be here tonight. Also, I'd like to thank Chessie Powell for coming. Chessie and I have been through some experiences with some of our public relations problems that could have been bad situations. We worked together well on them. I've got friends in Columbia who came, friends further than Columbia who came. Our regional commissioner from Atlanta was up today, and he came by the house and stayed until almost time for the party. He may as well have come on to it. He said he had to go to Auburn and be there in the morning for some, I forget what he said he was there for, but he could have come here tonight. I'd like for my children to stand, if they would. I know they stood before, but these are the reasons that I went to work 26 or 7 years ago. And you've got 7 in school, a year apart, trying to keep them in shoes and clothes and doctor bills and dental bills. 4 in Cub Scouts, 3 in band, 1 taking dancing lessons and 1 music lessons.
That was all band.
Children's shoes on sale, I don't know why. But when you have to go to the store and buy 4 pair at one time, believe me, you need 15 pair. 15 checks coming in instead of...
You had 1 in reform school too.
No, I do thank the Lord that they've all turned out well. There for a time, Doug and Robert, one didn't link up, the other one did. And this is one thing that Mr. Sherman and I were talking about this afternoon. He used to try to tell me they're going to turn out all right. He spent half the time at Allendale High School. He said they're going to turn out all right. He told me one time when 2 of his brothers, and he came home from church, they just knocked the door down. It was locked. They didn't bother about going around trying to get in the window. It was easier to knock the door down and get in. And his older brother, he said that his uncle told him that said, I believe every time the boy goes to church, it gets worse. I think he just needs to stop going. I think this has been a delightful retirement party. I appreciate the gifts. I appreciate everything everybody's done. I appreciate the spouses having come. I'm going to stay in Orangeburg, the Lord willing. I have no plans to move, and I want to thank all of you for the time and trouble and money you spent on this. It was real nice, and your talent was something else. Great. Thanks a lot.
Do it more anyway.
One other thing. My, I guess predecessors, Woody Miller, Harold Robinson, and Maureen. That's all right. Maureen Burns. Excuse me. I didn't do that on purpose. But, we were running a race. I never dreamed that she would be out before me, but she made it, really. I missed appreciation and thanks for the area director's office representation, and that's Shirley Sinise and it's not working, her husband, and little Carol for coming too.
Don't forget about Charlie.
Well, Charlie, appreciate you. Well, I know they're anxious to get in here and clean the
You get your ring back?
Oh, Rita, give me my ring back.
Go tell those ladies.